Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Friday, the 21st of June, comes to you from London. And we start by looking at the dollar. It's had a pretty tough week with the comments from the Federal Reserve, so we are just seeing the dollar weakness creeping in. Two downside targets here. Of 1.3 and 2.3% respectively. And of course, this longer term downside target now starting to look a little bit more worrying, but we have medium term upside targets. So the picture is still mixed. We're bullish on the long term chart, medium term chart just breaking down. So quite a change there all round. And if we take a look at the euro, we see that dollar strength, dollar weakness transferring to euro strength, and we had multiple downside targets for the euro, a new upside target, finding support on the short-term charts, still bearish in the medium and long-term charts, but starting to look a little bit better than it has done for quite some time. And again, the Japanese yen, we're seeing the dollar looking very weak here, bearish on all three time frames. So the yen is the strong currency in times of turmoil. And we are just also seeing the spat with Iran between the US and Iran and potential strikes that were held off last night in the news this morning. That is just having a weighing on sentiment in the markets as well. Sterling holding on against the dollar at around 127 and against the euro fairly flat at 112. So it really hasn't moved very much against the euro really in the last 2 years. We look at sterling euro rate, it's been fairly stable. Against the Swiss franc, sterling is weaker, as we might expect. The Swiss franc actually benefiting from a little bit of uncertainty globally at the moment. And against the Aussie dollar, sterling sitting at 183. Bitcoin is hitting $9,700 this morning, so it has $10,000 in its sights. We've got an upside target of $13,000 on the medium term chart. 10,400 on the short-term chart. So $10,000 looking very doable now for Bitcoin. The S&P 500 index pushing higher overnight on these comments, pushing to new highs. So starting to look strong again, and that recovery underway. The Federal Reserve's comments this week helping stocks break out. The Nasdaq not quite making it to new highs, and the Dow Jones index also just not quite making it to new highs, but all starting to look a little bit more like we're going to break and run. The Russell 2000 index held up pretty well this week. We're seeing quite strong there as well, and holding on to its medium-term bullish position on the lagging line. So that's a recovery. We are seeing this morning the futures down very slightly. The S&P future down 0.09%. The Nasdaq future, the E-mini down 0.2%. So we might just see the markets ending the week unwinding some of the gains, but on the whole, expect a strong week. We're seeing that in that strong weekly candle there. The UK market this morning is up 0.2% as well, looking strong there now on the medium and short-term charts. The UK midcaps also looking quite strong. Long-term chart still has work to do, but medium and short-term we're recovering. The DAX is down very slightly this morning, but it's had a very good week as well. We see here the bullish weekly candle. So looking pretty strong, good upside targets still. And the CAC 40 has been the stronger market this week. Again, a really very big, strong rising candle. So French stocks have fared very well in the week. Japan closed down nearly 1%. That stronger yen not helping there. And the Hang Seng was down just under 0.5%. But again, a strong week there as well. China had a very big day yesterday, up 2.5%. And that's gone a further 0.2% higher. So again, a strong week there. First strong week we've seen for several weeks for the Chinese market. India was down 0.2%. The Aussie market was down just under over 0.5%. But again, stellar making new all-time highs there. Brent crude down slightly this morning, sitting at $64, but again a strong week there with the political uncertainty around Iran, and WTI also looking pretty strong again with the political uncertainty surrounding the Gulf at the moment. US nat gas sitting at $2.21. It seems to be just a matter of time before we're nudging the $2 mark for US nat gas. Gold had a very strong day yesterday, breaking to a 6-year high. That run continues this morning. We were above $1,400 momentarily in the early hours, but we've come back to 1391. But these three upside targets now all confirmed with that closing price yesterday, unwinding the downside targets. Gold looking very strong indeed. So that's quite key there. And silver is down this morning, but again, it's breaking out as well. US 10-year yields really have had a terrible week. We were down to just under 2% at one stage, but we're sitting at 203 at the moment. So interesting that we're just really just nudging that 2% level now. We were looking at as much as 4% in the targets. We were as high as 3.3% only a year ago, less than a year ago. It's amazing how the picture has changed, and we are now in downtrends on the yield on all charts. That's meant that German bond prices have rocketed, so the yields have plummeted and the bond prices rocketed, so that's quite key there too. Taking a look at the individual stocks now, that data was coming to you from Thomson Reuters Icon or Metastock Zenith. Taking a look at the individual stocks now, we can see, first of all, on the Dow, the best performer was United Technologies again. They were up 2.5% yesterday, so another strong showing from them. Caterpillar were also strong, rising at nearly 2%. Taking a look at the Nasdaq 100, the best performers here were Adobe. Again, they were strong the day before. They're breaking to new all-time highs. Adobe chart looking very good. We've got a good upside target here of 7%. We're outperforming the Dow by 13% so far this year. On the downside, we had Tesla just pushing down 3%. Their downtrend continues, underperforming the market this year so far by about 33%. Looking at the Aussie market, we had New Hope Corporation. They were up 9%, so not enough to really change the picture on this chart. And Sierra Resources down 12%, so that's quite a big fall there for Sierra, and that downtrend continues as well. They've underperformed the market some 50% this year. Looking at the Indian market, we saw it was down predominantly, so we see more stocks down than up. UPL were up 3.5%. They've had a terrible week, just recovering some of the loss to end the week, but not really changing the fact that the chart has changed there. Yes Bank's woes continue, down 4.3%, underperforming the market by 50% this year, so really falling away there. Into Europe now, we take a look first of all at the UK market. The best performer this morning is Ocado Group. They're up 2%, and that chart still outperforming. We were as high as 50% outperformance on the Dow. We have come back quite a bit in the last several weeks, but we are just starting to see the emergence of some downside targets. So Ocado just looking a little bit vulnerable there. Taking a look, and then we see the live prices coming in from Yahoo Finance. Rolls-Royce is the worst performer this morning, down 1.1%. And that chart really in the doldrums, relatively speaking, versus the Dow, has been flat most of this year, and we see that in the price as well, just struggling to do anything major there. Yesterday we saw Dunelm Group were up very strongly. This morning it's TI Fluid Systems. They're up 3.2%. Not enough to really change the long-term picture, but medium-term starting to look a little bit better. And if we take a look at the downside here, we have Domino's Pizza down 5%. So just again having really struggled over the last year, the relative underperforming there. And taking a look at the European market now, we look at the best performer this morning is Nokia, up 1.9%. Not enough to really change the picture of the chart here. And then on the downside in Germany, we've got SAP Group down 0.6%. Again, the live pricing here coming in from Yahoo Finance, so quite key there that we've got SAP Group down 0.6%, but the chart's still looking pretty good. That's it for today. Until Monday, happy charting. See you then.